We interrupt with breaking news from WWL Louisiana.
We are coming on the air following some breaking news in New Orleans that we first brought you during our noon newscast involving a deadly crash in the Holly Grove area. A news conference is about to happen right outside University Medical Center, where we do expect to get more details. Now, just a little backdrop, that crash happened around 11:40 in the 9200 block of Airline Highway. This is not far from the parish line with Jefferson Parish. This is a live stream right there from University Medical Center. You can see New Orleans police, the chief there, walking to the microphone to begin that news conference. Police do confirm to us one person died at the scene in Holly Grove. Of course, we've seen a lot of activity since then at University Medical Center, where an ambulance arrived and escorted by a large number of JPSO vehicles. We want to listen in now to Chief Ann Kirkpatrick.
No, absolutely. Take a second. Sure, absolutely.
Oh, no, I think we're going to be live.
All right. Are y'all hot? Everybody's hot?
We're going to be hot, though.
All right, go ahead, Chief.
All right. I'm here to actually deliver some extremely sad news in the law enforcement community. Today, about 11:40, we were, our partner, the Jefferson Parish agency, and our officers were engaged in escorting a funeral escort on Airlines Road, and an accident occurred. And as a result of that accident, we have a fallen officer, and it is JPSO. We have a deputy who has lost his life. The family has been notified. The family is at the hospital right now. This is our number two, the deputy chief of the Sheriff Parish office. But I'm actually, and the sheriff is going to be coming in and making a statement a little bit later today. But we are here as partners, as friends, and a fallen officer in one agency is a fallen officer for all of us. And we don't apologize if we shed a tear. Tears are appropriate. And so we got a heartbroken family up there. And so for details about the crash, it occurred in our city. Therefore, it will be our investigation. And the captain over our traffic unit can answer maybe a few details for you, but we don't want to get too far into details, because right now this is about supporting the family and with that. So please don't ask us a lot of questions. When it's appropriate later, we will identify the deputy, but it won't occur today, right? Or it'll occur probably later today, but not in this moment, okay? So what are questions that you might have for us?
We're going to start over here. Andre?
As far as the funeral procession, he was on a motorcycle.
We can confirm that he was on a motorcycle, and he was right next to one of our officers who were also on a motor detail. So it was a motorcycle crash.
And then as far, I know we're waiting for more information. I don't want to identify him. Right?
Yes.
Talk how many years maybe, or the extent.
Would you like to address that? All right, I'm going to have,
Identify.
yes, go ahead and share who you are, too.
Afternoon, I'm Captain Jason Rivard of the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office. The deputy was a 16-year law enforcement veteran, 14 years with the Sheriff's Office. I was married, has two kids, and those family members are here at the hospital now. It's a tough day for everybody involved, and I can tell you, Sheriff Lapinto has every confidence in NOPD to fully, completely investigate this incident. Like I said, it's a tough day for both families, for NOPD and JPSO. And we're going to work together to make sure that this family's taken care of and his memory is honored.
Okay, 26.
With the driver, can you tell us about the driver, what happened? Did he run a red light?
So this is what we'll give you at the intersection. The deputy had maintained the center lane. The procession was in the far left lane. At that point, the deputy was coming to a stop, slowed to stop at an intersection when a rear-end collision had happened with the other vehicle that smashed into the back of him.
Is there any information about the driver that you can share at this point? Are they also injured in this crash?
So the driver of the other vehicle was taken to a nearby hospital and to be treated. I'm not at liberty to give the injuries that they sustained, if any. So they're being treated right after the crash.
And I know you guys mentioned it was a funeral procession. Is this considered on duty? Is it considered a private detail? Any information about that you can share?
This is an off-duty assignment that the officers sign up for in order, while they're not working, to be able to escort a procession to its destination.
And I know it's preliminary, but do you anticipate any arrests for that driver?
We're not going to speak on that at this point. Everything's really fluid. I can tell you that you can trust that I have the best reconstruction experts in the New Orleans Police Department. I trust everything. There's a lot of evidence being retrieved. That's video, analytic data, as well as we're doing drone footage to make sure we do distance and stop, as well as we're doing the box to find out what speed, what breakage was used. And so all of those things will be analyzed before we make any decisions on the behalf of this department.
And there were cameras in the area that you guys were.
We're monitoring cameras. We have all the footage that we need, and we're also doing a careful analysis of everything else that you may not have the opportunity to be able to view right now.
Was the vehicle a sedan, SUV, any clarification?
It was a sedan.
All right, thank you all for coming out. Thank you all. We'll send you a press release.
Yeah, I want to say one thing.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I just want to say one thing. Sheriff Pinto's out of town. He'll be back in a couple of hours, and that's why I'm standing in front of you. Listen, this is a hard day for us. This is a hard day for law enforcement. We were with our teammates. We were with the NOPD when this happened. That gives us some measure of comfort, but we ask that y'all think about us and think about law enforcement. Everybody sees the motorcycles all the time and probably doesn't give them a second thought. We have a wife upstairs and kids upstairs that are dealing with this traumatic event, and we ask that you think about us today. So that's it. Thank you.
On that, can you talk about...
My name is John Fitzpatrick. I'm the Chief Deputy of the Sheriff's Office.
Can you just talk about the partnership between Jefferson Parish and NOPD, especially in a time like this?
I'm going to let the superintendent
The
talk.
reality is, you hear us talk about partnership. We're a partner. We're teams. I mean, their hurt is our hurt. And so we work very well. We like each other. We enjoy each other. We do the work together. And so I'm a crybaby, so I tend to shed tears. And I'm just sorry to the family. I'm sorry.
It's a difficult day.
And our mayor, this is our deputy mayor representing our city. And she's just not able to be here right now, but I appreciate that the deputy mayor's here. So thank you, everyone. Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
All right.
Thank you, man. Thank you for watching. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. Appreciate you.
All right.
Appreciate you guys, Reese. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Buddy. Thank you.
Okay. We need to...
And there you just saw an emotional New Orleans Superintendent Ann Kirkpatrick saying a fallen officer in one agency is a fallen officer for all of us. This comes after a JPSO deputy who was riding a motorcycle as part of a funeral escort with NOPD was hit from behind by a sedan and died on the scene. Of course, we now know that that deputy is a 16-year law enforcement veteran. Many of those years, 14 of them with JPSO. He was married, has 2 kids. The family now upstairs trying to wrap their heads around this, how it happened. Of course, the investigation is now at the feet of NOPD because that's where this happened, right at the parish line on Airline Highway. You heard him talk about the need for reconstruction efforts to make sure this investigation is handled properly. They're going to be looking at video surveillance in that area, doing as much reconstruction as they can. Then you heard from John Fitzpatrick, the chief deputy with JPSO, getting emotional as well, saying it's a hard day for all of us. Of course, that was an off-duty assignment by that JPSO deputy working alongside alongside NOPD, their partnerships that they often do escorting funerals, assumingly trying to block traffic, of course slowing traffic down as the funeral procession passed on one side there on Airline Highway. So a little more information to that breaking news. Of course, as you heard Jason Rivard saying, it's a tough day. A tough day not just for these two agencies, but also the family now without a loved one. A JPSO deputy killed while riding a motorcycle, doing off-duty services for a funeral escort in the city of New Orleans. We of course have crews at both scenes, both the one on Airline Highway as well as UMC, of course getting as much information as possible, and we of course will continue to follow this story as we move throughout the day. That'll be have updates for you both on air and online. Of course, our streaming service WWL Plus will get you back to regular programming now. Or actually, we're going to go now to the crash scene where we do have one of those crews. Our Meg Ferris is out there. Meg, what are you seeing out there?
Mike, I just wanted to let you know that the scene is still very active here. I just heard in that press conference they were talking about they're getting drone footage, and we do see the NOPD drone footage flying here on the scene, gathering information and getting information that they can to see how long it took someone to stop, to determine how fast the driver was going. So as you can see out here on the scene on Airline, this is about a block or so from the entrance to Palmetto Overpass, just to give everyone perspective. And everybody, police are on both sides, so both sides of Airline Highway, Airline Drive are closed down. Right this minute, you can see a tow truck is picking up the car that hit the officer on the motorcycle right now. They're loading that car onto there. There is a heavy presence of NOPD here. I'm assuming they're JP officers as well down a little bit farther. They have us blocked off from being right on the scene. But still, like I said, a heavy presence out here gathering information. The officer's motorcycle was absolutely shattered in many, many pieces. We talked to a worker who works just right here where it happened, just I would say a quarter of a block, who heard everything. And the word he used to describe it was explosion. He said when the car hit the motorcycle, it sounded like an explosion. And he was outside right here, standing here. He was on like a Zoom conference. And so he saw the whole thing, and we did talk to him, and he said it's just obviously devastating here. He described this detail as a funeral procession, and then you have another funeral that has to take place now. So that's what's going on here. I wanted to let people know, if you're traveling, it's not just this area that's blocked off. You cannot get on to the ramp, the airline ramp from I-10. That's blocked off. The only way that we got in this area was to go over Palmetto and then kind of zigzag through the neighborhood behind here. However, there's still police cars in the neighborhoods blocking people off from getting to Airline Highway. So you can only get so far, and then you could walk here. But that's what we're seeing here now. I'll tell you this. Usually when you're out on a scene, you see the officers talking to each other. It's just very quiet. It's so still out here. You see the officers just really not talking to each other. A silence, and knowing that they lost one of their own. A lot of them just standing around watching. Very quiet, solemn, as they're loading the car onto the tow. No word of when they'll finish gathering their evidence and when they'll open Airline back up. Of course, that means that all the arteries getting here are all blocked up. The exit, when you get off at Carrollton, 2-lane, that area by Costco, that artery is all congested, as you can imagine, just that this main artery is completely shut down. So be advised if you need to get somewhere. But that's what we know from here, and of course we'll be updating you as more things happen on the scene, and we will bring you the interview. We talked with the man who witnessed everything, a young man who works at a business right here where it happened. Back to you.
Hey Megan, if you already said this, forgive me, but when you interviewed that gentleman, did he give you any indication as to whether the car being loaded on that tow truck is the car that slammed into the back of the motorcycle?
I am not sure of that at this time, so I need to check. We believe we know which car it was, but we are not, at this time it's not official. At this time, I asked him if he saw the driver and if he saw, where the driver was taken or anything, and he did not see that. But I heard the police chief talking about that she used the word they. So I believe it's just one person, but that is not confirmed. I do not have that confirmed at this time, but I heard her say that the person was taken to a nearby hospital. So don't know anything more about that, Mike, at this time.
All right, Meg Ferris out there at the scene. Thank you for those details. Of course, very active out there. Police asking everybody to avoid that at all possible. Now, of course, the JPSO deputy has not been identified. The chief said that they probably won't happen just yet, maybe later this evening. And when it comes to the driver of the other vehicle, we do know that person was taken to the hospital for some type of injuries to be treated, but authorities did not go into details as to what those injuries were. Of course, that's when they talked about the need for doing a reconstruction of this. There's no word yet on whether any charges will be filed against this driver. That's why they need to do this investigation. Well, it comes down to a JPSO deputy losing his life during a funeral procession escort working alongside NOPD this afternoon. Well, this morning it happened around 11:40. Of course, here we are hours later, and that scene still very much a part of the investigative process. We, of course, will continue to follow this story, so be sure to keep up with us on air and online. We'll get you back to programming now.
This has been breaking news from WWL Louisiana.